There we go.
Okay, thank you. So we had just that star formation in the slide before, and I would like to go a bit more practical in it. So we imagine the star formation. Like this. So, and above this, I would like to introduce you the wave breathing. That's how I call it. Maybe you remember last time I was talking about the Sandman, you lying on the sand on the beach. So this is you in red here. And this would be the stomach. And the lungs would be here. So, and inside of us, it's actually not really blue, but we're mostly water. So how can we feed that center here? Is on a little detour when we watch outside how the earth is breathing. So imagine you're at the beach and you have a wave that is building up like this. That's when the earth is breathing in. So it's accumulating water. And since last time we know that water basically this here. And we figure out that we can make it a bit more easier when we put it like that. So this is the same. So if the earth is the center of our life, or basically we are walking on it and living on it, we try to imitate the breathing of the earth. So when the wave is building up, we are breathing in. That's basically when the stomach here is going up. So now you might ask why the stomach? We usually breathe through the lung. But if you fill up and you focus on your stomach, you're basically able to gather more oxygen literally in your body. So the building up of the wave is the breathing in, and the breathing out would then be the crashing of the wave. And that's when you exhale. So basically you can go in sync with the breathing of the air, with the earth through the water. So your stomach is going up and up. And then the wave basically floods your whole body with water. And through gathering, the same as we have with the star formation, basically give to the center what is in need, and that would be the love as light, or the H, if you will, from the outside. To the inside. To focus this here. So when we do what the earth is doing, we are connecting in the fashion or in the way the earth is breathing. And this will connect us not only to the planet, but because the planet is the heart of our body, it's also within us. So what the earth is doing through breathing water, we are doing the same with the air. By breathing the air, we are accumulating the energy, which basically cultivates or accumulates in the body so you can give more. Does that make any sense?
Yes, of course. We experience this, in a way that, but you have explained it beautifully. Now we can see it all clearly, how the waves do interact, and well, now we know, as you have presented this beautifully. And yes, of course, there is the interaction of earth from within us too. And this is the way the interaction and the connection established thousands of years ago. And still, souls are establishing, earth is establishing the connection with all souls. Yes, yes, I understood. And the star formation, of course.
So
yeah.
The heartbeat
yes.
of the Earth, of the planet,
yes,
will align you in the
Mm-hmm.
same way when you synchronize your heartbeat with the planet. And the connection will be over the breathing.
Yes, yes. Here in India, as you have said, Andreas, it's beautifully, this alignment of all the planetary beauty that has been embodied from within us, or we are embodied within them. This alignment is called the yoga. That is the yoga, the alignment. And the manifestation is the yojana, the form. And this is beautifully you explained. Thank you.
So with finding our soul is basically, you can accumulate like a cloud or like a center. And the way you can do it, as we know, is through the heart. And there we have the heartbeat. And so this should bring peace and quietness through the stillness. Yet you're moving much more in a microcosm, much more energetically. And then to bring that actually to an explosion, so that if you have like a water drop that creates then the ripple effect when it lands in itself. So in the moment we are creating water, we are related to our heartbeat. And through connection to the earth, we will become much more like the children of earth than a foreign force.
Yes, yes, there is, whenever we go to some water bodies, a lake or a river or an ocean or a sea, we feel more alive, as our heartbeats just merged into that, the ocean merged into us, the river, the lake, the water, that is the beauty merged. And this is the way our heart works, our heartbeat opens immediately. Like if we sometimes structure that not to go there, not to, but then it goes in a way as it works in the, well, we see the principal matter. So yeah, yes, it is beautifully you explained. Thank you. Yes, we understand how when the heartbeats become much closer, and we can say it becomes the heartbeat from within the plasma fields, not the mechanisms. In a way, mechanism works as a heartbeat, we know. So it opens like a flower. Yes, of course, beauty in totality. Thank you.
So through the imitation of the breathing of the waves, we basically imitate the state that the earth has, and that it's much more giving. And actually it's also in sort of balanced state through the giving and receiving. Now, I was asked today already, what about this star formation? So the teaching we were practicing in Ghana and China was basically from, we were 3 male sitting around in a like triangle like this. And then we had Stefania in the middle. And we were giving by not physically giving, but by the intention of sharing and caring. So we're basically making like a shield around us through feeding the center with love. By this practice, it was for us to experience the plasmatic fields that go around that felt like some sort of wind. If you imagine you have a fever, you have this up and down or this fluctuation of temperature. It was not a cold, it was not a heat, but it was something like, it comes close to some sort of wind. And so we had this circulation going around, and by giving, Stefania in the middle was able to receive in the opposite direction, and that would make her spiraling up through the giving. Now, this is a physical exercise if you want to do it in a group of 4. We also switch the places. As we all know, we have both the sides, the female and the male side in us. So you can literally exchange this one, but maybe for the female, it would be easier just to receive, as this is the physical shape of, or the physical shape that was intended before the manifestation happened. So when you give from outside to yourself or to your core, that is literally the same as we had before with this one here. So the structure we created here with 2 lungs, 1 heartbeat, and 1 soul is that what you can replicate through the breathing within yourself. So we'd have 1 lung here, 1 lung here, 1 heart here, and then the soul in the middle. Is there a question?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, Audra.
Hello?
Do you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. So I wanted to know, how did you set the triangle, and what was the angle, the 4th one you put G? Is it, you understand? You had 3 males. How did you first set that? With what degree? Who was putting who where? You understand?
Yes.
Was it the same forces, the same, first that? And then the 4th one, which is A, G. What was it? Who was it?
So the G is the gravitational and the M is the magnetical. So the male that is intended to give more than take, and the female that is probably more taking than giving, but intended by purpose. The I'm sure there might be a perfect angle, but you know, none of us, well, we had an engineer, one of the Mozhans is an engineer, and you know, we did not really measure any angles or distances. We just tried to get like a triangle shape. So everyone was sitting on some sort of cozy chair or sofa. You can do that also in a sitting position. And then just someone was sitting in the middle, a little bit higher than everyone else. So like a cushion or something that, you know, like the heads, the center of the soul would be a bit elevated in relation to the surrounding.
Now, it's not that what I meant. I mean, we don't have to put the triangles equally, on the contrary, but it's a difference of forces to turn right or left. If you start from left, you put this small one, it turns to right. If you put the strongest one to right and the other after that is lower and lower, it turns other side, right? And was Mr. Cash there also?
He was with us in many ways. We had some kind of time for ourselves where we tried to practice that on our own, and we were curious how far we could go. So that's that stage where we experienced that wind going around. I think that was the closest that I could feel the plasma state in a collective setting like that.
Thank you. And when you breathe out and in, is there a moment of a stop between the maximum out and maximum in? Pause.
Well, it's if you try to hold your breath as long as you can, you will feel that there is some sort of pressure coming from within you. So then you need to breathe out sooner or later. The longer you practice the breathing and the holding the air inside or exhaling everything and remaining without air, this gives you like an insight how much your body is saturated with oxygen. So feel free to play a bit with that. There is no certain guideline that will bring you wherever you want to go. It's just you that needs to basically feel yourself the most happy or the most joyful by doing it. The order of the people sitting, we were changing that daily. So yeah, I think it depends on how the people basically connect to each other. So as well, feel free there to experiment.
And was it Mr. Cash Bojo's breathing way?
May you repeat that, please?
Was this breathing in motion period? You thought Mr. Cash told you to do that, or is it your own conclusion?
That was the breathing technique was, it was not really a technique. It was basically the star formation, the setting up, and then the intention to give to the center. So basically we were imitating, or we were creating an environment, call it the womb, that gives freely whatever is needed from the center. So the center, or Stefania, was able to receive from the environment that were the three people and everyone or everything around us. That was basically creating that kind of shield or security or environment for Stefania just to receive. And when she basically received more than she could handle, basically that was the way she could achieve that lift. So it's some sort of excitement in the body that brings you up when you're becoming lighter and light.
Thank you. Is there anything of the education of this formation is left with you now after some time? Have you kept anything in memories?
Well, you can put it in your memory, but it's always, it's always shown to you in the world. In whenever you open your eyes, you just need to see where you have to look at. So you are constantly reminded on different levels how the planet or how existence works. It depends how open you are to receive that knowledge.
Thank you. Can we say it looks like yin and yang, the breathing and the beating?
Yes, the yin and yang, as if you take it in a 2D, so in a flat way, then you just have the black and the white. But there is more to see if you put it in a 3D version of that yin and yang. So you would have a torus shape that is basically giving out, and then you basically get back in what you sent out. And then can be many versions of those combined together. Then you have the same giving out from the bottom and the receiving from the top.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we had a hand up here with Steph as well. Maybe they had a question about the presentation.
Yeah, I had I write it down in the Q&A, and Stefania answered me. But the question is, the three are on the ground. Okay, they have to use a cushion or a chair, but in the different heat, or do they have the same heat? Also on a chair, the three same chairs or three same cushions, or have they have different too?
You mean high, not heat, high. Sorry, because you say heat, but I think you, Steph, you mean high, different high.
Yeah. High, sorry. Okay.
For what I remember, was to Mr. Cash told us to be in different height. When especially I remember this when we were doing when he said to us, tomorrow you have to fly. So he gave us the description to in different heights, but I think he told us even before, but definitely for the fly he told us, and space underneath for the fly, and so
and
so
there are three different cushions, for example.
You have to be different from each other's.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That was my question. Thanks very much.
So if you imagine yourself as a body, you would have 2 points in the lungs, and you would have the heart and the soul maybe in the head. And now the soul can travel up and down. So basically through more giving, the elevation of the soul would happen. And in the beginning, maybe we were sitting like this. So we were bringing down the soul from Stefania, or she was just closer to us, and the way that she would go, basically the star formation would follow, or maybe the triangle and on the bottom would follow when she decides to lift. So you see, the blue ones are the lungs, the red one is the heart. You can basically connect the breathing with the heartbeat, and the heartbeat is again the connection or the elevator system within your body where the soul can travel in a very fixed way, just to make it easier. So So you see the height is very dynamic. It's more the base is here that needs to reach a certain state of rhythm, most likely. So you don't need 3 other people, but you can do it on your own. And if you want to experience or even share that with other people, just try to get a group of 4 or even more. Basically, we just had the 4 people. I would suggest that we have seen different pictures of MAGRAPH units, in circles. So imagine that, just sitting a lot of people in circles together. Okay, something that might help is this here. So when we have the gravitational that turns to the right, everything around, as the male was giving, will be leftwards. So the more giving you have here, the more the gravitational also gets built up. So, and if the force on the floor is basically too strong, the gravitational basically will be pushed up. No, and then you also have within Stefania the same, the giving, and again the taking. It goes on and on in smaller. And also in the larger picture. So if you imagine this is plus and this is minus, this is minus plus, minus. Basically, it's a building up because both are gaining by being in balance. So you actually can grow when you become still in the center, because that's when you basically know, or you have a feeling of where you are or how you are related or connected to the environment. So when one is magnetical giving and, or gravitational taking or receiving, and magnetical giving, so when those both are equal, then you can feel the center. If it is the other way around, you have something like this. It will be much harder to move, because you will always be not really balanced or straight. You will be always be like this, And this is the earth. So you would go a bit sideways. And moving sideways is always, like you're not in the proper way of steering your existence. That's why it's very important, or the most important, to be present in stillness, where you basically can feel the energy or the dynamic energy in the center. Otherwise, you are just focused on the movement of your body and the exterior. Because when you're in the center here, you're able to basically grow bigger in balance, which is growing the circle in an equal state, or the perfect circle. Can you follow?
Yes.
So the gravitational pulls you to the Earth, the magnetical basically pushes you away or lets you go away. As long as we are too gravitational, we will remain on the floor. If you let yourself loose or loosen or let yourself go, it means you open the way to go up. And up basically means you go outside. And because you're going outside and you return inside all the same, you're building up the center here. Here would be difficult to find the center because you're not in balance. So center might be here or here, and that's where the confusion basically keeps you grounded. Speaking in terms of confidence, the one who is balanced knows most likely that all you need is already given, so you can share what you have. The one here always needs more and therefore is dependent or needs a coexistence. Stefania, would you like to add something?
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed the first part of your presentation. So I could add something from here, but I really admire how you can explain it like this. I will not be able to explain it like this. This is good. Yeah. So you were talking about the day that we fly. The day Mr. Cash asked us to fly.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the situation on the table where you were, you know, spinning around and levitating.
Oh, yeah.
So that was more or less how we built this momentum.
Yeah. I mean, I shared before in the past, and from my point of view, what I remember, I just remember that Mr. Cash, yes, the day before, like you said, he didn't tell us specifically. He just said go in start formation and try different combination. He said, but Stefania, you start first. So it was not like okay, Stefania goes on the front, go on top, and the other three Mozhan stay lower. No, we just thought, okay, let's follow the instruction. We start like this with me on top, and then we see what happened. And if I remember correctly, it was at the first combination that we decided to do after Mr. Cash suggested us to start like that. And then if nothing happened, he said to rotate between us. I just remember he also said, I don't know if you remember, Andreas, he said to close the window, don't do it near to, not do it in the open. I remember he really tell us to do indoors. and away from any window. He told us as well. And then he said, this for staff, going different high. And I remember he said, definitely for this occasion. And then I don't remember if he told us a long time before, but for this time, definitely said, off the floor, be off the floor. Sorry, the dog, sorry, to be noise. Just be off the floor and be in different heights. So then I was on the table and they were in chairs, sofa, whatever we had at the time. I do definitely remember a noise starting for all three of you, Andreas. I heard this noise. For me, it was like if coming from your throat, on the back of the throat. I remember I heard some noise first, and then the heartbeat. The heartbeat was to me was the first thing. I mean, obviously, Mr. Cash already said you cannot think. When you think is not it. So we had to recall the feelings of unconditional giving. And so all of us, by then was already 2 months or 2 months and a half, I don't remember, already practiced this daily. So I think by then for us, it was much easier to get in that, call him state, I don't know how to call it, but I remember connecting for us was much easier at the end and much quicker, and things were changing much faster than the beginning, obviously. So I remember this noise to me was on the back of the throat, and then I remember try to recall these feelings of unconditional giving. And then I just remember the heart. It was really to me like an engine started, and I just something that was something. I don't know if you say something bigger took over, but definitely, something took. I don't know if it's the right word, but it was something that I said this before. It's similar when you think about the inside of your body. That you have things happening inside of your body that you're not aware of, but they are happening. Like when you digest your food, you're not aware of each step, or you're not in control of each step of how your body is gonna make a digestion. So for example, when your body digests, food, it's not like you said, okay, now food going right, go left, going up, go down, things happening without you do anything, and you're aware of it. That was the same feeling, but in a bigger scale, going bigger. More bigger would be, instead of going in, you going. It was something that was going on the outer, and I just remember Mr. Cash. I mean, this is what I remember, Mr. Cash. It was do not close the eyes totally. Keep it slightly open. When you have the eyes slightly open, you're connected with the universe. This was what I remember. And then when you close your eyes, you're going within. So I kept always my eyes slightly open and fix a point in front of me. I remember also this was really helped me to straight away get this connection. And then I remember, as I explained it before, but I repeat myself just in case someone here is new. And then I remember the heartbeat changing for things, going really much faster. The weight fluctuating, like I said, I start to become very light. So my legs start to lift, very light. My legs start to lift off the floor. And then my arm was like, it was so light that, they were fluid. I couldn't keep them in the floor, like if I didn't have gravity any longer. And then I remember start to like hop, like lift and then going to the side and drop, and then lift again, and go to the side and drop, like if I was hopping on the table, you know. So I was lifting, side drop, lifting, side drop. So I could feel this weight changing, and then suddenly I started this rotation happening as well, and this force coming. Sorry, after the heartbeat, what I noticed was this. I don't know if the heartbeat come. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe come first the heartbeat, and then this wind, like Andreas just said. This feels. You really can feel them from underneath coming up. So something was pushed me up. So this force was coming from underneath and going up. So this force was coming from underneath me. Really felt it clearly. And then this rotation happening. And then it came so fast that at that point, I knew there was a point where this energy was building up, and you have to let go. You have to let go completely. And that point, I think I didn't, and I wanted to stop everything because the spinning was really fast. So I knew it was not me spinning, even though was something happening between us. And but I do remember the next day when we told to Mr. Cash what happened. He said that because I had the fear, I must have tilted and my body, so I was not straight. And so the force from the bottom, it could not go up away to the head, but it was coming out from the shoulder, and the force coming out from the shoulder, it's what make me tilt. This is what I remember he said. I don't know if you want to add anything, Andreas, but I do remember that he said was because I was not straight, I was tilting, and that make the rotation. That in one way it did make sense. I don't know if you want to add anything, Andreas.
Yeah, I would like to add, because you just mentioned rotation too many times. This here as an image just to keep in mind. But what I would like to show you is this here. That's me and the coffee, watching closely. I want you to focus on the parts here that are in the coffee, so there are no bubbles. But you see here you have some sort of black spots with a white dot in it. So now I hope I can forward that a little bit. This. And now if you play with light and darkness, you can see that perception is really from one point of view. So here you can see the light, and you see the light inside. And if you don't see the light, you won't see anything that seems to be real here. Now, the spinning of the two bubbles, or the couple of bubbles in the middle, that goes on and on until you see it's always a bit shaking, but that's the coffee, because it's a field or a liquid. And in the moment that bubble bursts, so when the oxygen explodes because there is too much energy inside, you can see, stop it. It's a bit tricky to see. It goes very fast. So the energy going in this ripple effect is only visible because we have a field or a liquid around. So imagine the light in the air or in this bubble that explodes and basically shines out. And then we see again how same goes to same. So oxygen collects or gathers itself, even there is no rotation or slightly no more rotation. So when we have this, we are very close to this here. And we know what was inside that got dispersed. Then we are again here. So maybe next time when you make a coffee or something with a couple of bubbles in it, you put some rotation in it and see what happens. That works again the same way like in the bigger picture. If you have the time and not the thoughts to watch exactly that simple thing and not get carried away from whatever story, drama, or thing that's circling in your head. So thinking will stop this process, as Stefania said. So that's why you need to bring the soul from your head, basically to your heart. There you have the biggest gravitational field, and that's where you can practice the easiest way.
Okay, we had a question in the live stream from Freed, who asks, were you attuning to the inertia? That means to the energy fields of that place?
Well, spoken for myself, I was definitely attuned to Africa because the dreaming was so intense, like I had never before. And I can just answer that to this question, I guess.
So I guess,
No, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I guess I sort of add to that question by asking, was it a different tuning in the different locations that you were as Mozhan?
Can I answer this, Andreas? Then, because I was answered this before you, I was exactly talk about that with Rick. Because this is it. I remember that we changed location. So from Africa, we went to China. And I remember even in the plane, do you remember, Andreas?
Yep.
Mr. Cash taught us to please not to think on the plane, anything about the Mozhan, because he said it would be dangerous. We could have stopped the engine of the plane. So it was very strict that he said, please, when you fly on the plane, please don't think anything of what we've been doing in Ghana. So we have to really keep ourselves off with the mind. I remember me looking magazine, really keep ourselves distracted because he thought that we could stop the plane. And to me, when we change a country from China to Ghana, it didn't make much difference. To me, it was really to me like how us four, we were creating something like our own environment kind of things. Yeah, I really believe that. Do you remember, Andreas, when we were in China, that I remember towards the end, sometime we were saying, it's like if the floor, it's it was like if the floor was, it was not, it was changing under your feet, or I used to have this constant bzzz, like something, like if you were into like something, not electric, but there was like a bzzz, like a, that I felt the same things when I went into your health unit. Do you remember when I come to see you? And I entered the health unit that you had, and after the Mozhan, and I remember me thinking, oh my God, it's the same feelings I had of when we were doing the Mozhan. So to me, definitely we're creating something between us four. But then obviously you have to maybe connect with the environment. But I just don't know. I just don't really know. But I do know that I will even say to Mr. Cash many times, but he never answer. So that to me it was different environment where I was. Yeah, but I was more connected to our four, to me. But was just my feeling.
Well, for my experience in Ghana, as there was the yellow fever jab necessary to actually enter the country, and then there was this malaria fly that basically could sooner or later get you killed. That was a pressure that I really felt in Ghana when I was not in an environment that I could control. So whenever there was a mosquito flying around, there was that confrontation with my own fear that, who knows, maybe you get one bite, or you get bitten by one mosquito, and that might be the story of a bigger issue that takes longer. So that was a bit stressful for me in the beginning, and as well as I had in mind to consume all those tablets and stuff for basically preventing any kind of malaria issue. But when we started to, I think after 1 week, or not even 1 week, I stopped taking all these. So basically giving up that false sense of security was then even more stressful. And we were actually very much detoxing, or I was detoxing for 1 week, if you remember. So I think for letting go meant actually as well for me to let go of that fear. And I remember very well in China, when we were staying at that place, when there was a butchery right next to the house, that was very irritating to yourself, that sound that we could hear in the evening or in the night, during the night. So the sense of perception changed very, very much from Africa to China. But China was much more, friendly environment for me. You saw, or you heard it a bit different, I guess. And I remember very well when that was in Hong Kong, where we had to basically stop intermediary. So there was that experience when we were walking in the city, and we all shared the same feeling, that it seems that the floor is not stable anymore. So we basically, like, more it felt like we were swimming, or at least the floor was moving up and down. And as I was explaining that with this balance here, I think, speaking for myself, so letting go of this part here on this one here, to balance out my field, and to start seeing that, the world is not it's not an evil place. To balance out this is the moment when you become fluctuating, or basically flexible, and you need to actually let go of that fixed structure that you inherited, or you have created over your existing life. So to change your bubbles here, or your torus, you need to let go. And in that state, when we can trust as a team or as a star formation or as the Mozhans, that gave that feeling that even if this bubble here is fluctuating, we are still in a good state here.
Can I ask something?
Please.
I have the question. What, also Stefania has this experience to fly a little bit. And you three boys, have you any experiences like this, or to be a little bit flying, or what was your experience during the star formation?
Well, I think I noted a couple of dreams from back then. Let me see if I can gather that for maybe the next week's session, so I can answer you that question next week.
Okay. And how long does it take when you start to do the star formation? How long does it take that you feel as one? How many days, or is it just in the beginning? And how long does it take in the last days to get the feeling? You say, Stefania told that it's more easier to come in this feeling. And how long does it take when you sit down? Are you directly in the state, or is it like an hour or whatever? And in the beginning, the difference between the end.
Well, I would say that in the beginning, we had no idea or no clue how to achieve anything, but by just, playing around and actually applying the hints that Kesh was giving us and sharing with us during the days, we were getting closer. Basically, it was like how you call it, approximation. So you're going closer to something, you're approaching it step by step. It was more like that. So I would say in the beginning it was maybe it didn't work at all. Maybe there were glimpses of working states. And to answer your question, how it is today, I hope that we can practice again as all the four coming reunited sooner or later, and see how fast it goes then. By now, I think all of us, and also everyone that's listening, can actually use this technique or try to figure yourself out, but not in a way that you need to understand everything. Just make yourself feeling good by doing basically nothing, and that's quite a challenge, I think, for most people in today's time.
And on the last day when Stefania had this experience, how long does it take that she's going in this position? Was it directly when you sit together, or was it up to an hour?
To me, it was very difficult to time disappear in this moment. You really don't have awareness of time.
Okay.
It's really like I will not be able to answer this question. I remember when we were preparing, because Mr. Cash said to us, tomorrow you have to fly. So, and if I remember correctly, he spent the day before tell us exactly what will happen and tell us all the instruction. The next day when we did, every day we practice, no? Every day when we finish our day with Mr. Cash, we will go back home and practice.
How long?
All evening. We were starting in, I don't know, sometimes I can't remember now, maybe 8, 9 in the evening, and go on until we wanted to. what I remember, we were less tired, so we wouldn't need many hours to sleep.
Yeah.
And we were not hungry, even though we were eating, but we were not angry, like starving. But the time it really fluctuated, because it's very hard at the towards the end. It was really fast to me. This is what I remember. For me, I remember, for example, on the day that we fly, it didn't take very long. So I could say that in my mind, to me, from what I remember, it was like 20 minutes, 20 minutes before to trigger all these things. But I would not know. I would not know if it were really 20 minutes or not. I would not know, because
roundabout.
It felt like that. Let's put it this way. Yeah, it felt like that. And definitely towards the end, it was, we were sitting down, and it was not too long before, I was see things or experience things. So it was not too long towards the end. Yeah.
And Stefania, also you mentioned your other experience with the health unit, that almost immediately you felt the same emotion or mood from that unit. So you recognized it. It's more of a recognition rather than a whole process that you go through, perhaps.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I recognized straight away. Yeah. I went in for. No, it's weird, because I would say back home. You felt like be back home, because towards the end, definitely for me, that was home, and that was reality. And the world we are now, this was not. This was delusion. It really definitely flipped. It flipped. Yeah. You have this flipped where that become reality.
Wow. And now, when you go into airplane, is he saying that you now don't think of the Mozhan, or is it now okay? You told that you don't think of the Mozhans. The last flight there from China to China, from Africa to China, and now, when you're now going on an airplane.
Always don't think about the Mozhan moment, just in case, because he said it. He said to us, "It's not a case that we are in different parts of the world. So it's not a case that we come from different parts of the world." And I do definitely believe that we can do this. Even now, like from distance. It's just. I never felt like the need or to be able to recreate that. To me, it took such a long time after the Mozhan to go back to me, normal life.
Yeah,
it took me a very long time, and since then, this always feel very material, like very solid, very solid. In the Mozhan, this is my impression, everything could happen easily, and everything could change easily towards the end, easier.
Yeah.
And everything looked less fixed. And now, here, like this, I don't know even if I'm correct to make this separation in my mind. You see, maybe it's my mind doing this. So here now, I always feel like more solid, more. But I'm sure that since the pandemic started, and since we started our teaching like this, is definitely brought me back as the Mozhan. So to me now, we're in a big Mozhan experience.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so to me now the atmosphere is different. When you think now, so I correct myself. When you think like sorry, the noise. When you when you think when okay, I'm gonna close 1 second because the dog come in and they're excited.
Yeah.
1 second.
My dog will answer.
just once they're in, they're fine. So to me, it's like, you know, when you think before the pandemic, you know, you think the world was different, and now you are in a different, everything is different now.
Yeah.
So now, to me, where we are now, it's more close to the Mozhan now. We're more close to the feelings I had in the Mozhan now than before.
I think so.
I feel this unitedness between us. So I think it will not take long. For example, it's not a case that now Andreas coming to teach us his point of view of the Mozhan. I think, to me, this all in my opinion, we all, you know, gonna connect like we did, because we all doing self formation that we wanted to or not. We all doing daily, but we are not maybe aware of it. But we do self formation between all of us all the time.
Yeah.
You know, every Sunday when we spray the water, or anyway, and when we think about the 5+3, you know, we do self. We all doing it. So
yeah, we're connected.
Yeah. So I think this atmosphere, this environment that I felt in the Mozhan, I feel it slowly building up here now with all of us.
Yeah. It's all more easy because of the atmosphere, the thunderstorms and whatever. Something will happen, and the atmosphere is has more energy, and yeah.
I mean, definitely. If not, I don't know if you remember, Andreas, but Steph, I remember that the synchronicity of the event start to really come more frequent, and then you have this synchronicity happening all the time, more and more, and then things start to happen without you wanted to, or think about it. It's not like you plan something and with the mind, no. You're creating condition. I understand more and more when Mr. Cash said you're creating condition, no, and then naturally things happened. You know, it's like if you bring yourself to be ready, and then when the things come, you can experience it. So I think this is what will happening already now. For example, with the 5+3, you know, last Christmas, Cash said that Mr. Cash said that we had very good success by Get United at the soul level, no? So we can see that we're already doing it, but slowly we become more and more aware of what we're doing, and it will become much easier to do anything as well, and things will change in much more faster. So we were gonna see much bigger result, much quicker. So we have to just keep going, because what we're doing now is the same as what we were doing in the Mozhan. The Mozhan, we were just listening, Mr. Cash, talking, and then practice the meeting at the soul level. So exactly what we're doing right now, and then put some knowledge into, so even do some practice, physical practice. So you have to some doing, and everything will happen on its own.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think so too. Thank you very much.
I would like to add a little something, because you know the word time is something that you can call it sensitive to it. Switzerland is famous for chocolate, cheese, and watches, and I'm so done with watches, because I would like to show you this. When we have the term in English nowhere, it means it's not existing, so you can't find it. But if you watch more closely, it means also it could be now and here. Then it's very specific, but you don't really know exactly where it is. So in the moment you think that time is real, you need to wait until something happens, or until you are ready that it might happen to you. When we know that time is usually just two of these going in a circle. So in the moment that you focus to your soul, you need to get familiar with the idea, at least, that there is no time, which means everything exists at the same time, at the same spot.
Yeah.
So if you ask how long it takes, you still consider time for you to pass by until you can get there. You don't need to ask time or whatever authority for you to let yourself going there, because you decide how long you would like to spend time on the way to go there.
I know, but this was just a question but I live without time. I live in the night. I don't have time in my life. But it's that I just wanted to know because of whatever, but I don't use it by my time. My soul will know when it wants to go or whatever, and I trust my soul.
Yeah. So when you are ready, it will happen.
Yeah.
And you will know when you are ready.
I think so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question from both of you, from one of you. First, maybe your soul, could we say it was in another dimension? And then secondly, how much do you think the plasma of Mystic Cash was playing in your star formation? Thank you.
I didn't understand the second question because your voice is very low, not clear.
How much do you think, Stephanie, that
Could you speak into the microphone or turn your microphone on, Marinus?
hello, it's good?
That's better. Thank you.
Here we go. How much do you think that the plasma of Mr. Cash is present? He has his soul, he has his intention, and how much could he affect your plasma, your star formation?
Okay, I answer first, and then Andreas, if you want to add. I'll start with the second question because to me, Mr. Casher, for example, at the beginning, when we were headaches, we couldn't understand, and a lot of information was given to us. He said not to worry. Your soul, will download all this information, and when the right times come, you will know what to do. And I do things. He does this with the teaching as well every Tuesday, or every time he teach. Obviously, when you have him when you are with anyone face to face, yeah, you're more involved. He was never with us when we were doing star formation. But one day I remember, do you remember, Andreas? One day he made us a joke, and he taught us what we were doing the day before. So when we met him the next morning, so usually in the evening, he will leave us. We will practice the star formation, and then we will meet with him again in the morning for another class. And I remember he actually could told us what we were doing, each one of us, the night before. So it makes us understand that he could be there if he wanted to. But I never said so I don't really know. Definitely, I do really think that I do really think, like you said before, that we build like something between us, and but I don't know how much or if Mr. Cash was affecting or not what we were doing. I don't know. I don't know. I cannot answer that. But I remember when Mr. Cash a few workshops ago, maybe a month ago, he wrote. I remember this teaching where he talked and he said, "All the stars are not all stars." And then he said that four stars can go together and creating environment. And I remember he said you can create in any environment, like Earth or any environment you want in space by connecting these 4 points. So to me, it felt like that. We were doing something similar like that between 4 of us. We were like, you know, like he said, like 4 points, making an environment. This is my perception. Maybe I'm wrong.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if Andreas want to add anything to that.
Do you remember the joke? I actually don't. Stefania?
Which one?
The one that Cash said, you know.
Which one? I know he said so many.
No, but before you, yeah. So, well, I would say that, you know, there were not so many people with us in Ghana and China. So, in one way or another, we anyway all connected to each other. So Cash was there and not there at the same time, and
yeah.
So yeah. So I think we just needed to find more a bit the deeper trust to ourselves and to actually not even, you don't need to see it, but you need to feel where you're at. So when you have a better understanding where your center is, the more you know where is left and right.
Thank you very much. I think what you said that
We can't hear you very well, Marinez.
I think what Stefani said that they could do it little by little better. It was because of this trust they had together, and it gives me some hope that if human beings get detached of material problems, and they trust each other sincerely, there is a natural way we could do a lot more because of this trust between the individuals. Thank you.
Perfect. I think that is true. Yeah. I think we underestimate what we can do. Like we did in the Mozhan. I mean, I personally did in the Mozhan. I underestimate. But then the good part is that it will happen anyway. We have to just be patient. When we're ready, it will happen. Basically, we just have to keep going. And the trust will come. I think, to me, the trust comes with unconditional giving. When we understand the true, you know, I'm still learning as well. I don't know myself, but when we understand more what that means, the trust comes within. When because we're gonna start to like just what Andrea said, it really make me think, because it's true. Cash said, I'm there or not there, same time, same face at the same time. So it's a hazard when we start to switch to this. We really pay more attention to, like he said, like the fields, and less to the material. Then the moment we pay more attention to the fields, like we do it now, then obviously Cash will be always there, and we all gonna be always there, and we all gonna do much more as because we're going to interact with one another more with more awareness, with more conscious. We become more have a more consciousness on this, because all the time, 24/7. Because I remember even when the arm became blue, that for me was a life-changing, because I could see my arm different color, but still not believe, you see? So you can have a miracle happen in front of you and you still miss it, or you still not believe in it. So I think, it's a process of growing. And so that I think, we're a force together. We're a force, but we are not aware of what we can do, or we don't see it, or we don't see the things happening around us, but they are happening every day. Like Mr. Cash was saying in the Mozhan, he was said, look, you materialize every day. You go every day, children. Every day you're making children. Every mom who make a children, where the baby come from? You materialize it, So there are stuff that we're doing in daily life that we're so used to that we stop seeing it. We stop pay attention to it, and then when the real things happening, like for example the changing color of the skin, still don't believe in it, and it's in front of you. So we have to just become more aware and bring it to 24/7. So it's already what we do when we connect for the 5+3, and we have to bring to 24/7, or when we spray the guns in the environment. It's the same, but just become more aware. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, there was a question in the YouTube from Kelly K, Canada. Does levitation happen easier with exhalation? So that's when we breathe out. Is it easier to levitate breathing out?
But you see, for example, all these things would not be possible to me, because when it happened to me, the beat was changing, and then the next things your arm flow. So it really, you have now this thinking, okay, now breathing out, now breathing in, let's practice breathing out, practice breathing in. I don't see this to me. I don't see. Obviously, to me, it definitely is important to be aware of the breathing, be aware how you breathe, be aware. You go back to the same things. Basically, you need to know where you are in space, because you need to come back. It's your home. So you need to be aware. You need to be aware where you are, or so then you become aware. So you become aware of your breathing, or you become aware of your toes, or you become aware of the way you see things, or then you can expand to things around you, to the environment, no? So I think to become aware without changing, and that is already a big things to do, because we're so used to manipulate, to direct, to try to change, or try to succeed, try to make. This was the mistake we were doing in the beginning for me, too much thinking and too much trying to do the right things. But if you just become aware and you start to notice things without changing them, then the things will change themselves, and they always change, on the way they should be at the time, that moment. So it's more learning to not interfere and be aware, something like that. That was we had to practice when we were doing the self-formation. That was, to me, that was the challenging of everything, was that to not interfere, not to think, not to try, not to just be aware. I don't know. Don't know if I help. I don't know if Andrea wants to add anything on this.
Well, in terms of a picture, maybe that could help, that if you imagine yourself flying in an air balloon, you definitely need somehow a lot of air. I'm not sure if there is a difference between inhaling and exhale when you hold the air. So when you're not breathing in or out, but you contain. So I would say the trust comes from containing from within all that you need. So I think breathing in and out is the way to get there, but to remain or to be there basically would not include breathing anymore. Because you are air already. You are saturated. Everything you need is already within you.
Rick, is there any more questions about Mozhan?
I don't see any more in
Okay.
our streaming.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Stefania. Thank you, Andreas, for this beautiful, beautiful presentation. And you said right, we have to be aware, and now here is the time and nowhere else. Thank you for this beauty. And we are so merged in the talking, in the way of the presentation, that I will say, all of us just behaved like the soul, you know. We forgot our body. We were just merged. And this is what Mozhan is, to be the stars. We say, let's go to the stars, forget, like that. Thank you so much. Salam, namaste, salute.